Hi everyone! I have another topic to talk to you about, which is releasing yourself from toxic relationships and being able to heal from gaslighting so you can actually open your gifts. Because those two are extremely connected, whether people like to think about it that way or not. Most of the time, when you are unable to access the depth of your spirituality, the depth of your soul's desires, things like that, like it feels unattainable, it's because there's probably some sort of tie to other people or trauma within you that needs to be released. And one of the hardest things that can occur on your spiritual journey and your spiritual awakening is coming to terms with the fact that your visions and your gifts are very accurate. They're way more accurate than you think. And the initial thing that happens when that starts to become a reality for you is you will immediately gaslight yourself because of folks who have gaslit you. You will tell yourself that that's not your reality, that's not true. Yes, that is your mind, but where did your mind get that information, right? It's from all of the past ties and interactions that you've had with people. It's from living in a society that that does gaslight you, right? That has normalized not being spiritual and normalized being in, as people say, the matrix or whatever it is. They don't normalize remote viewing, even though it's a thing and everything is energy. Just so we're clear. And they normalize like over purchasing to put a band-aid on what you are actually needing. And so the journey to opening up your gifts can look quite unique. And unfortunately, I've seen a lot of folks, because I want to kind of be really honest with that, with this, and you can tell me if this is something that you've done before. We've all kind of been there in the beginning of your spiritual journey. There will be some sort of resistance and negativity that you don't really see coming, but it's there. You will start to blame the universe, you will start to blame your ancestors, you will become extremely angry, resentful, like, why are you doing this to me? Why are you X, Y, and Z? How dare you? And I saw this recently actually in one of the classes, and it became a very like tense conversation, because when someone is in that sort of cycle of victimhood, of blaming, instead of living from a sense of accountability, it can be very, very hard, because also you're seeing this person and you're also realizing that they've probably been gaslit a lot, right? And so their only way of navigating their life is to try and control everything around them. And now they want to go on a spiritual journey where you have to surrender. And so anytime they don't get what they want, instead of surrendering, then all these things start to happen. And so we have to go all the way back to where that behavior even started, right? That's why, like, in every single one of my journeys, my coaching programs, we always start with accountability, and we always start with the inner child. We always start way back then, because I need to know every single thing about you and how you got to this place, because you coming into this space telling me about all these things that people have done to you and yada 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 is, yes, there is a time and a place for that, but also we already know that there's been a lot of people who have gaslit you, and now we need to go a step further. Now we need to figure out what occurred, how can we heal it, how can we move forward, how can we be more peaceful, and then it's going to be up to you to decide whether or not you want to continue and open your gifts, right? A lot of times people will start to plateau with their spiritual gifts because they've hit resistance. They've hit some sort of resistance instead of leaning in, and then they fall back into victimhood. It's very interesting, and you know, we see this in politics in the world a lot too, right? Where people don't know how to communicate across the aisle, and they start to blame the parties and all these things. But really, it's like, okay, can we go back to how this all started and how people stole everybody and slavery and all these things, and can we heal that so we can actually come to a resolution and stop blaming each other, right? So it's the same thing with your spiritual journey, and having to take accountability. And once you can do that, and know where the trauma came from, you can then begin to remove the stories and even the people who have caused you harm in your life, and cut away those toxic ties. In More Than Worthy, my one-to-one program, like, I do request that folks take some time for their family, because it is in their best interest to be able to allow their identity to evolve in safety without the people who likely gaslit them their entire life. And you know, in the beginning, sometimes it is tense, where, you know, other family members don't quite understand that. And that is why I open my space to be able to hold that container for you, because it's doing your generational healing and opening your gifts. It's like you have to be in a container that is of Pachamama, that is, it's remothering. Like, I'm helping to reparent you. Basically, so that you feel safe enough to be in the energy of when you were a child, when your gifts were really strong, and when you felt confident in who you are before that got stripped away, but before you started to become a victim and be a victim in some cases, but before you started to live in your victimhood and it become an identity for you. So we have to go back and do a lot of reframing with what you believe in life and what you believe to be true. And a lot of it is hidden. A lot of it is so hidden. And you know, we work together over 6 months because I need to be able to see how you show up in the world in half a year, right? And alongside that, you have access to Z School for the Gifted, so you have a community around you, which is going to be so important. So you can start to see what a healthy community looks like and what boundaries look like, versus the friendships and things that have poor boundaries outside of class, right? And outside of this space, while also me being there to help guide everybody and demonstrate also how everyone can work together for common goals. So I wanted to just kind of explain that journey and why it's so important to understand your entire life story in order to open your gifts, and why it's so important to remove toxic energy regardless of who it is in your life. But first we have to identify what that energy is and where it came from. Otherwise we're just putting band-aids on things, and I would push you back into victimhood, and that's not the goal here. And I invite you all to think about how you show up on social media and YouTube and all these different channels, and the videos that you are watching. Are they actually helping to grow your mentality as a person, as someone who's also energy and all these things? Or are they only filling your head with these grandiose ideas, instead of, you know, really allowing you to step into your joy and your happiness and your freedom? Because it's easy to go down the spiritual path and then not be awakened with reality, right? And you know, that's where I come in. Folks come into this space, and I gently, or not so gently, remind them of who they are and what's acceptable and what's not, and remembering that you must take accountability for your 3D realm in order for you to thrive in the 5D. There is no way out of that. And so if you're trying to chase the idea of I'm going to be enlightened without doing your healing, you are the most toxic thing on the face of this earth. And that's just the truth about it. And so really be unbiased about your healing journey and what you are manifesting into your life, and how you can do it in a really healthy and safe way for yourself and your community, because you deserve that, your community deserves that, this world deserves that, and we need more light workers and healers and activists like myself, and artists who actually care about identifying toxic behavior and healing it, removing it, and planting something new, because we all need to blossom, and this world needs a lot of love right now. So I wanted to share that. Let me know if this is resonating. Let me know too if you're going to join Z School for the Gifted. I would love to have you all there. We can have these open conversations. You can come heal. We do meditations. We do, the craft, like whatever it is that you are needing. And it'll also flow with the universe. So if I need to teach you something that's going to be beneficial, like the retrograde coming, I'm teaching you how to protect yourself or clear your energy or ground during a retrograde, and what decisions to make based on what I channel for you. It's a great space to be able to do that. And if you feel like you are ready to go on your deep generational healing journey, I invite you to apply for More Than Worthy. I do only take a limited amount of applications, and I want to make sure that you are ready to commit, because it's 6 months. It's a journey, and you have access to me as well in your calls and learnings and an education portal, and I'm there on Telegram helping you in between, and you have Z School for the Gifted, so you are extremely supported, but it takes a lot of work, and we're going to look at every aspect of your life. But if you're like, I'm ready to be free, I'm ready to move on, I'm ready to create the life that I've always wanted for myself, but it felt just out of my reach, just out of my grasp. I'm ready to not be triggered anymore. I'm ready to have a family that is just magnificent. I'm ready to receive love and actually feel it and enjoy it. Then More Than Worthy is for you. And I can say it's a very impactful program, and it's one of my most favorite things to help people. And hearing folks say things like, I'm not triggered by my family anymore, and I've never felt so free, or my husband and I, our sex life is amazing, we can communicate better. Like, you don't realize how much generational healing will affect every aspect of your life. And despite me being houseless more than once and going through the sexual trauma that I did, it was because of generational healing that I was able to keep going. And the same thing with my clients who have experienced a lot of trauma because they chose themselves. They will always continue to do so. And that's what that 6 months really teaches you, is how are you going to consistently choose yourself unapologetically, lean into that love like you've never leaned into it before, while also realizing that you are more than capable of living the life that you desire and making an impact in the world, because it is for people who also want to make an impact. And after the program, you have a choice to go into the Empowered Feminitiation, which is specifically for artists and activists. You can do amazing things like this, like create an amazing book about your story and just be liberated. So again, those options are available to you. Let me know in the comments again what resonated. I'm sending you lots of love. Also, links are in the description, and I heart you all so much. And I just want to say that I'm proud of each and every one of you for showing up in the comments and just showing up on the lives as much as you do. I wouldn't be able to do this work and help the world without all of you. And it means a lot to me, and it makes me emotional just even talking about it. And also, like, I appreciate folks' donations and things like that to my business. It all helps in a massive way in order for me to create more resources and build new programs and pay people to help expand my reach and things like that. So I am just sending you all the love in the world, and know that I am here to help you, and I cannot wait to meet you soon.